So we're just a few short days away from WWDC 2022. There are loads of rumours out there as to what we might find at the event, but these are the three things I'm really hoping we get delivered next week. Hi there guys, it's me David, talking tech here on the channel, and this week we are going to cover the rumours that are abound by WWDC. Things have been a little bit quiet recently, there haven't been many leaks about it at all, and that's because of course WWDC is really for developers and it's a software conference, i.e. they can keep everything under one roof. There is no supply chain to worry about. Now there's been a lot of contradiction as to whether there's going to be any hardware shown at WWDC. It's not unheard of, it's happened before, and we know, for instance, just recently the board were showing their first physical sets of the AR/VR headset. Now I don't think we're going to get that shown in full at WWDC, but maybe they'll give us some sort of artistic video, a teaser of it, just so developers can begin to work towards the apps that they're going to need on the AR/VR OS that's coming. We've heard it's already being developed, so maybe they'll give a little tease about what's coming in their virtual reality world. That is a possibility. I'm sure all of the OS are going to get updates. Of course, we're going to get iOS 16. I know the rumours recently that was delayed, but that will come out with whatever upgrades that's got to it. Health and notifications we know are getting some attention. tvOS, watchOS, iPadOS. Everybody hates iPadOS apparently. I haven't got an iPad that I use regularly. I've only got an iPad mini that I just use for content consumption. But those guys that I know that use iPads regularly and professionally are hoping beyond hope that the iPad finally gets brought up to date. So there's a lot of speculation. A lot could happen at WWDC. But what I wanted to go through in this video were the three things that I would really love to see that would make the conference complete for me. So it's not unheard of that we get some sort of hardware released at WWDC. Last year, there was no hardware, but it has happened in the past. One of the machines that I'd love to see launched is the brand new MacBook Air with, hopefully, the M2 chip. Now, we seem pretty sure from everything that we're hearing, from all the leaks and rumours, that the MacBook Air is in for a major redesign, the first redesign it's had in a decade. Gone will be that tapered edge that's been famous and synonymous with it since its launch. Now we're going to get a much more uniform, square shape, similar to the MacBook Pros. It's going to have that squarer, chunkier look to it. And most importantly, colours. Colours are coming to MacBook Air for the first time because it's very much on their consumer side of machines. So the iMac 24-inch, as you know, has got the colours, and we're expecting to see a similar range of colours on a MacBook Air. Many people are making big of the fact that the event invite went out with 5 or 6 colours on it, saying they're going to be the colours of the MacBook Air. Who knows? People spend a lot of time taking apart those invites. Whether that's any steal or not, I don't know. But it would seem fitting that if we are going to get a machine, it'd be a consumer level machine they can get into people's hands as quickly as possible. Now, I say that, of course, there are still major supply chain issues. So if you want one of those, I would suggest on the day of the conference, 6 p.m. BST, and I think it's 10 a.m. Pacific time, make sure you're there waiting, because if you don't get in on pre-orders, I reckon you're going to have a really long wait. And that wait could see you through till the end of September easily. Delay times at the moment, if you look at Apple's website, for anything other than base level specs are being pushed out and out. Now, yes, production facilities are beginning to catch up, but there's still going to be a long wait. So if you're keen to get it, be ready on Monday. Apart from the colours, we think there's going to be a white keyboard, white bezels, and of course a notch there as well. But it is going to be hopefully the first time that we see M2. And for that reason alone, I would love to see a consumer level machine come out, much like they did with the M1, with the 24-inch iMac, so we can see what M2 is capable of. Of course, we know it's not going to be as powerful as the M1 Pro, the M1 Max, and the M1 Ultra. It all gets a little bit confusing because you tend to think that M2 is better. We know it's not going to be the case, but equally, it will show us what their footprint is for the future and what they in turn intend to do with the M2 Pro, M2 Max, and M2 Ultra. So I'm really hoping that we get a MacBook Air. I'm going to be there waiting. I'm hoping to get my hands on one. And if I do, I'll make sure to get it here on the channel so you can see what I think of it. And I would imagine, again, from everything we're being told, that the screen is staying as not being mini LED. So it's going to be an LCD screen. And hopefully that means it's going to keep the cost around about that same kind of £1,000 entry level. So I'm really hoping that we get to see our first look at M2 technology and also the brand new shape and colours of the MacBook Air. Is that something that interests you? Let me know in the comments. And the next bit of hardware I would love to see come out next week, at least mentioned, at least trailed, at least teased, is the Mac Pro. We all know that John Turner's teased us back in March with that's virtually the transition done, just the Mac Pro to go, but that's for another day. Well, what if that other day was WWDC? To fit into their 2-year transition period, it would need to be at WWDC. And again, I don't think we're going to see a full release of the machine there, but we could at least see probably some artistic trailer videos of what the footprint is going to be, what the machine is going to be shaped like, the basic ideas they've got. But they did it in 2019. They've done it with a trash can Mac Pro. So there is form for it. So maybe we'll get some sort of idea of what their future plan with the Mac Pro is going to be. Now, the Mac Pro is not going to be a machine for me. I doubt you'll ever see it on this channel just because of the cost. It is for the highest of the high end. It's for the few top % of people that need that machine. But of course, it is very important to Apple's creativity niche to have it there. It's kind of the bedrock that Apple was built on. That machine is for those high-level creators that can't turn anywhere else. And they need to get their Intel switched off and over to Apple Silicon. And they need to get the Apple Silicon into the Mac Pro so we can see what they're going to do with it. Because upgradability has been a massive part of a Mac Pro's DNA. Now, the only weakness really with the system on chip that we're getting at the moment from Apple Silicon, of course, is that what you buy is what you get. If you don't get your spec right there and then, at the moment you're putting it into the basket, you're stuck. There is no upgradability to it. So I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do with Mac Pro. How is the vision and the future of Apple Silicon and the way they've gone with it so far going to fit into the Mac Pro? What are your ideas? What would you like to see for the Mac Pro? Everyone's saying that it might still be a tower shape, but possibly smaller. I don't know if it's going to be sort of just a little bit bigger than the Ultra, maybe something, or the Mac Studio with the Ultra chip in it. Maybe that's the form they're going. We all know that they can pack an awful lot of power into a very, very small footprint now. Maybe that's something that they want to show off. But it's that upgradability that I'm really intrigued to see of what they do with Mac Pro. And my gut feeling is that we will get something mentioned about it. I don't for a moment think that they're ready to launch it. And again, I don't think they'd want to launch it with the chip shortages. Now, of course, with the Mac Pro being a much lower unit of volumes, in terms of sales at least, than say the MacBook Air or an iMac, the supply chain shouldn't cause as much of an issue, but it is still an issue. And as it's their flagship machine, they won't want to have any embarrassment about supply chain issues. But I think it's realistic to expect they might mention it now, give us an idea about how they're going to work with Apple Silicon in the Mac Pro environment, and then maybe look to have it released in the last event of the year, which is generally sometime towards the end of October or beginning of November. So 2 bits of hardware I'd love to see at next week's WWDC, MacBook Air with an M2 chip in it, and the future of Mac Pro. And before we get on to the last thing that I'd love to see at WWDC, I would just like to talk about MacPoor and CleanMyMac. If you've recently bought yourself a brand new Mac, you want to keep it in tip-top condition. You want to keep it like it's just out of that box, that lovely new feeling to it. You want to keep it running smooth and fast and quick and efficiently and quiet. Well, with CleanMyMac from MacPoor, you can do that. I have bought 3 licenses over the course of the last year, and I can't recommend it highly enough. It is so simple to use. You don't need a degree in coding. You don't need to be a computer nerd. You simply install it, run it. It does the rest for you. It will help you uninstall apps. And that's a major thing. We all put apps on our machines over the course of months and years that we end up not needing. You can run it to uninstall apps and it will show you the apps that are there. You can just get rid of them properly. You can get rid of all of their legacy parts as well. It will be gone. It will look for your system junk. It will go through looking for malware. It gives you suggestions of when to run it. It is a brilliant piece of software. There's a little link down in the description underneath this video. And if you do buy CleanMyMac through me, you'll help the channel out. I get a little bit of a commission from it. It is an affiliate link, but I cannot rate it highly enough. Go and check out the guys at MacPoor. They've got a range of products there, but CleanMyMac is brilliant. And if you've just bought yourself a Mac, or you're waiting to buy maybe a MacBook Air at next week's WWDC, make sure one of the first apps you put on it is CleanMyMac. As I say, the affiliate link is in the video description. And so too, the last of my wishes at WWDC next week. And it's not hardware. We've talked about hardware already. We've spoken about the MacBook Air. We've spoken about my wishes to see what the future is of Mac Pro. No, this is an app that's native on iOS and to Macs, and it's Mac Mail. I don't know about you, but it is driving me bonkers at the moment. It's just about workable on a Mac, just about. But even on a Mac, I find if you're searching for it, even if you use Spotlight search, finding mail that you've sent or binned or deleted is a nightmare. It just doesn't seem to trace it back. Spotlight search is supposed to work easily, let alone the search feature within the Mail app itself. It is just clunky. It doesn't work. And I wrote about this last week on a blog, and somebody got in touch with me on my website and said they totally agree. Now, I don't know what other substitutes there are, and I've always been a believer in using Mac Mail. It's done its job. I'm not one of these people who wants to mess around with apps too much. The native calendar app kind of does its job. I put appointments in there, gives me reminders. It does its job. I know there are other apps out there. I've always stuck with the iCal. Same with Mac Mail. Yes, there are other mail apps and clients out there, but I've not looked at them. Now, it's getting to the point that I might just need to look at them, and I might need your help and advice as to what mail apps I could substitute for, because if there's not some improvements to Mac Mail, I'm really thinking about moving on. But if it's bad on the Mac, it's terrible on the iPhone. I don't use it an awful lot on the iPad. It's not one of my big user devices, as I mentioned earlier on in this video, but I do use it a lot on the iPhone. I'm sure we all do. And now, if you get a chain of email, it is a nightmare. I had this instance on Friday that I think it was a 10 or 11 chain email with a client. I could see there was an unread mail somewhere, but I couldn't work out where. It looked like everything was open. It does this history of scrolling back, and it is just so confusing. Why can't we just have the latest mail, the latest installment of that chain of mail at the top? It would make so much more sense. It is infuriating. And oftentimes when you're looking at mail on the phone, you're out, you're away from the desk, you might be in a noisy or confusing environment, and you just need clarity to it. And with the moment on the Mail app, particularly on the iPhone, there is no clarity to it. I just do not like it. Now, I don't even know if you can replace the Mail app on an iPhone. Maybe you can help me. But at the moment, it's a right mess. And as I say, trying to search for mail on the iPhone, it's bad. On the Mac, it's bad. Now, if I'm deleting a mail, but think I might need it in the future, either I'll create a folder in Dropbox and put it in there, or I'll flag it to make sure that it shows up as flagged. So if I've deleted it, I can still go back into the flagged column and find it there. But it shouldn't be that hard, should it? The Mail app should just work. It should just give you the newest email at the top so we can read it. End of. I'm really fed up with the Mail app, and I hope, beyond all hope, they do something with that. I know we're likely to get updates across all of the iOS platforms, as I mentioned, Watch, iPad, tvOS. They're probably all going to get some attention. But please just give some love to the Mac Mail app and make it what it used to be. It used to be simple and robust. I never used to notice it, and that's the best thing about it. It just worked, and now it doesn't. So there you go. Those three things would make WWDC complete for me on Monday. If we were to get a brand new M2, fresh design MacBook Air, colors and square shape and all, that would be fantastic. The future of Mac Pros, seeing how they're going to attack system on a chip, Apple Silicon, and yet still make it upgradable as creators' demands grow over the course of owning Mac Pro. That would be a fascinating insight into their future and would answer a lot of questions for us. And lastly, just to make Mac Mail work again. If you've got any dreams and wishes that you would love to see come true, get in touch before WWDC. Let me know in the comments underneath this video what you would really like to see next week at the conference, and what are you hoping that, what hardware are you hoping that we might get to see next week? Not only see, but actually be ready for release. It's only a few short days away. Make sure to get involved. And if you've enjoyed this video, then at the end of it, I'm going to put up a video about my first few days with Mac Silicon and also the studio display. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Enjoy WWDC.